Welcome to Econ Decoded, where we break down complex economic and business concepts into simple, easy-to-understand ideas. Whether you're a student, entrepreneur, or just curious about how the world works, you're in the right place.
Yeah, and we are so excited to have you joining us today.
Definitely. So for today's deep dive, our mission is to explore the really foundational concepts in Chapter 1 of the OpenStax Principles of Economics textbook.
Right, we're going back to the absolute basics.
Exactly. And the goal here is to prove to you that economics, it isn't just about, complex math and money.
Right, it's not just spreadsheets.
No, not at all. It's actually a fundamental way of thinking about how we survive and how we thrive in a world that is defined by limits.
Yeah, that's really the core of it, limits.
All right. Before we can even begin to understand how money moves around, we really have to understand why we need to make choices in the first place.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's unpack this. The core problem we are looking at here is scarcity.
Scarcity is the big one.
Right. So human wants, they basically exceed what is available. We want more than the earth can give us.
Yeah, whether that's labor or tools, land, raw materials, there's just a finite amount of everything.
But the textbook brings up a really interesting point about the ultimate limit.
Right, the great equalizer, time.
Time, yeah. Because, rich or poor, everyone only gets 24 hours a day to acquire what they want.
Exactly. It doesn't matter who you are.
To really visualize this, let's look at the Smithfield thought experiment from the text.
Oh, I love this example.
It's so good. So imagine a town called Smithfield. It has exactly 100 people in it, and they all just love ham.
Okay.
But it takes 10 people, a whole month of labor, just to produce one single ham.
Right.
So if you do the math,
It's pretty straightforward.
yeah, the absolute maximum that town can produce, and therefore the maximum they can consume in a month, is 10 hams.
Right, assuming literally everyone is working on it.
Exactly. But I do want to push back on this a little bit.
Okay, let's hear it.
If scarcity is really just this simple math problem of, like, supply and demand,
Right.
then why is economics so complicated? I mean, think about the time thing. If I'm a billionaire, I feel like I can absolutely buy time.
How do you mean?
Well, I can hire someone to cook for me, someone to drive me around, someone to handle my emails. I'm essentially buying extra hours, right?
Well, what's fascinating here is that economics doesn't actually dictate the answers to scarcity. It illuminates the different choices we make when our backs are against that wall of limited resources.
Okay.
And in your billionaire example, you are conflating the production of goods with the consumption of them.
Wait, really? How so?
Well, you can absolutely use your wealth to buy other people's labor. You can outsource the production.
Okay, I'm having someone else do the cooking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you still have to take the time to sit down and eat the meal. You still have to spend the time taking the vacation or sleeping in the house. Your biological capacity to consume experiences is still strictly limited to 24 hours.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't think about it like that. I still have to experience my own life.
Precisely. You can't outsource the actual living part.
That makes total sense. So, since we can't have everything we want because of this scarcity, how do we maximize what little we do have?
Yeah. Well, that leads us directly to the division of labor.
Right. Specialization.
Exactly. Because if you try to do everything yourself, it's wildly inefficient.
The text has a great, super relatable example for this.
The consultant.
Yeah. Imagine you have this high-powered consultant, and she makes like $200 an hour,
Okay.
and she decides she wants to grow her own vegetables in her backyard.
Which sounds nice in theory.
Right, like a nice hobby. But economically, it's a terrible idea,
Oh, absolutely.
because every hour she spends digging in the dirt is an hour she isn't making $200 consulting. The opportunity cost is massive.
Right, she's essentially paying $200 an hour for those tomatoes.
Exactly. Or another example from the book is the computer systems engineer.
Oh yeah, the one who wants to paint his house.
Right. He shouldn't be painting his own house. He should be doing his specialized engineering work, making his premium salary, and just hiring a professional painter.
Who can probably do it faster and better anyway.
Exactly. So why is this division of labor so powerful? Like, what are the actual reasons behind it?
Well, the text outlines three main reasons. First, it focuses on natural advantages and skill levels.
Okay, so playing to your strengths.
Right. Some people are naturally better at math, others at design. Or it could be geography. Like, a coastal city has a natural advantage in fishing.
That makes sense. What's the second reason?
Second, it encourages learning and invention.
Oh, because you're doing the same thing over and over.
Exactly. If you only focus on one specific task, you learn all the little tricks, you figure out ways to do it faster, and you might even invent new tools to help you.
Right. Innovation comes from repetition.
Yeah. And the third reason is it takes advantage of economies of scale.
Okay, economies of scale. We hear that a lot. How does the book explain it?
It uses a really simple kitchen analogy.
Oh, the baker and the chef.
Right. Imagine a baker and a chef working together in a kitchen. They can produce far more meals if the baker only bakes and the chef only cooks, compared to if they both tried to make every single meal from appetizer to dessert on their own.
Because they don't have to keep switching tools and mindsets.
Exactly. As they scale up production in their specific roles, the cost and time per meal drops drastically.
But wait, I'm realizing something here as we talk through this.
What's that?
This whole system, this division of labor, it completely falls apart without trade.
Oh, absolutely it does.
I mean, division of labor is totally useless if the baker can't actually trade his extra bread for the chef's soup. He'd just have a pile of bread and he'd starve.
Right. The market is the necessary bridge. Without a way to exchange these specialized goods, specialization is basically a death sentence.
Wow. Okay, so now that we understand individuals are trading these specialized skills, how do economists actually study this? I mean, it's a massive, chaotic web of millions of trades happening every day.
It is incredibly chaotic. That's why economics uses two distinct lenses to view the world: microeconomics and macroeconomics.
Right, so microeconomics, that's looking at the smaller pieces, right?
Yes. The individuals, the specific firms, it's looking at a household trying to balance a budget, or a business deciding whether to hire 3 people or 5.
Okay, so it's very zoomed in.
Exactly. And then macroeconomics is zoomed all the way out. It looks at the whole economy.
So that's the stuff you see on the news.
Right. Economic growth, unemployment rates, inflation.
And the big government policies too, right? Like monetary and fiscal policies.
Yes, exactly. How the government tries to manage all those massive overarching variables.
Okay, so it's a lot to keep track of.
It really is.
Oh.
And the text has this great quote from John Maynard Keynes about how to actually approach studying all of this.
Oh yeah, Keynes. What did he say?
He said that economics is a method rather than a doctrine, an apparatus of the mind, a technique of thinking.
I love that. The technique of thinking.
Right. It teaches you how to think, not what to think.
Right.
And because the world is so complex, economists use theories and models to kind of cut through all the noise, like the circular flow diagram, for instance.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of like an architect's blueprint.
Oh, I like that. How do you mean?
Well, if you look at a blueprint for a house, it doesn't show you the color of the curtains
no.
or like
Yeah.
the texture of the bricks on the outside. It strips all of that reality away.
Right.
But it simplifies reality just enough to show us if the house is actually going to stand up. It shows the structure.
That is a really fantastic analogy because a good economic model does exactly that. It simplifies the messy reality of the world, but it leaves just enough of the key features in place to actually be useful.
Right. To see if the economic structure will stand up.
Exactly.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting. If the economic models are the blueprints, what do the actual houses look like?
You mean the different ways societies actually organize themselves?
Exactly. Because not every society builds the same kind of house.
Very true. The text outlines 3 main ways societies organize their economies.
Let's go through them. First is the traditional economy.
Right. This is usually agricultural, and it's basically doing things the old way.
So like you farm the way your grandparents farmed.
Exactly. You consume what you produce. There's very little economic progress, but it's very stable.
Makes sense. Then you have the command economy.
Right. And this is totally different. In a command economy, the government makes all the decisions.
They decide what gets produced and who gets it.
Yes. They own the resources, they set the prices, they tell workers what to do.
Which sounds very rigid.
It is. And then the third is the market-oriented economy, or private enterprise.
Okay, so that's where the individuals make the decisions.
Right. Consumers buy what they want, businesses produce what they think will sell, and prices are set by supply and demand.
But the text points out that most modern economies aren't just one of these, right?
Exactly. There's really no such thing as a pure market economy or a pure command economy. Most are a mix.
So they have elements of both.
Right. The government might regulate certain industries, but leave others alone. And whenever you have regulations, you inevitably get the underground economy.
Right, the underground economy.
Yeah.
Which sounds super sketchy, like it's all spies and, illegal stuff.
Well, it can be, but it's really just any market where buyers and sellers make transactions that violate government regulations.
Oh, okay, so even just like paying someone cash under the table to avoid a massive tax.
Exactly. It's the market's way of getting around friction.
And speaking of markets getting around friction, the text really dives into how these markets have expanded globally.
Yes, globalization. It's a
Yeah.
huge part of the modern economic reality.
Right. And the text specifically mentions how we've seen this massive surge in globalization in medium and low-income countries.
Right, places like Mexico and China, they've deeply integrated into this global web of trade.
And the text has this amazing metaphor for it that I just love.
The astronaut one.
Yes. So imagine an astronaut up in orbit, looking down at the Earth.
Oh.
And they're wearing these special glasses that make every single economic transaction visible as a brightly colored line.
Oh, wow.
Right. Like every time someone buys a coffee or ships a container of microchips, a line flashes.
It would be blinding.
Exactly. Looking down, that astronaut would just see the entire Earth completely covered in this dense, glowing web of connections.
Because we are all trading with each other constantly.
Constantly. The division of labor is truly global now.
It's incredible to think about it at that scale.
It really is.
Yeah.
So what does this all mean?
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today.
We really have. We started with the harsh, simple reality of your limited 24 hours. Scarcity.
Right.
And because of that scarcity, we look at why you specialize in your career. The division of labor.
To maximize that limited time.
Exactly. And from there, we talked about how to view the world through micro and macro lenses.
The trees and the forest.
Right. And finally, we zoomed all the way out to that glowing global web that you participate in every single time you buy something.
It's a huge interconnected system.
It really is.
It brings to mind a final thought based on the textbook's premise.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
Well, the text states that time is the ultimate scarce resource. We only get those 24 hours a day to consume things.
Right, the biological limit we talked about at the start.
Exactly. But as globalization and economies of scale continue to make production faster and cheaper.
And AI and automation too, right?
Right. The efficiency of production is just exploding. Will we ever reach a point where humanity's ability to produce finally outpaces our 24-hour capacity to consume?
Oh, wow. So we could just physically run out of time to enjoy all the stuff we make.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or is human desire truly limitless and we'll always find a way to want more?
That is a wild thing to think about. It really flips the whole idea of scarcity on its head.
It does. It's something to ponder.
Definitely.
Huh.
Well, thank you all for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.